Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Welcome to the Garage, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. The Court of Public Opinion is in session. Peter Clayton's behind the camera with his new little lapel microphone, which enables when I say hello. How are you, Pete?
Well, I'm good, Jeremy. How about you?
So I will not hear you as a voice in the distance. I will hear you up front and proper.
Hopefully so, yes.
Good. Best laid plans of mice and men. Mind you, with all this technology, you never know until it actually goes to air, or you look at it on the computer, or whatever. Anyway, I hope you got through the Monday holiday here in South Australia, at least. I don't know about other states. The weather here is beautiful, I must admit, although heading into some sort of rainy days. But that's okay, good for the garden. Don't forget our live streaming program on Friday from the dining room table. See, we don't deal in studios anymore. We deal in the garage here on Facebook and podcast, and live streaming with jeremycordeaux.com on Friday with interesting guests and quite, the Wild West, really, because you never know what's going to happen. Things break down, and there's something about all of us. We like to hear things go wrong. I don't know why. We get some sort of perverse pleasure out of seeing things that are less than polished.
Well, we don't like. I don't want to think that I'm the only failure.
No. What did Bob Dylan say? That success is no failure and failure is no success at all.
That's right. Yeah.
I never knew what it meant. Speaking of successes and failures. Noel Pearson at the Press Club on Wednesday last week. Does he ever take that hat off, I wonder? What is it, a pork pie hat? It's a funny looking thing. It's a sort of roundish hat. But I guess that's part of his personality, or he wants it to be part of his personality. He said passionately, forget politics. Vote. With this voice thing. Vote with your heart. Vote with your heart. It reminds me of the kids I ran into in Norwood, and I asked them why they were just walking on a Saturday around putting letterboxing people with yes leaflets and things. And I said, why are you doing this? Do you believe in this? Oh, no. Well, why are you doing it? Oh, Someone told us it was a nice thing to do. But lovely kids to do something that was nice. I totally approve of that. But you don't be easily led. Anyway, back to Noel. Vote with your heart. Listen, bad advice. We must always make decisions with our heads. This is not about emotion. This is about the future of this great nation and its people, black and white, able and disabled. So, we've gone from no need to read the Uluru Statement from the heart. Trust us. We'll fill in all the blanks later. I read you that thing that the Prime Minister said the other day. We'll get together after the referendum and work out how it's going to happen and how it's going to be implemented. Oh, God help me. We'll fill in the blanks later. So we've gone from that to no need to think. Use your heart, not your head. As I've said before, they must really think we're very stupid. As Warren Mundine said, And I thought this was most profound of his 45-minute, 1-hour address to the press club. He said, if all this yes money and effort had been put into getting Aboriginal children to school, there would be no gap. And Aboriginals would be on course to independence and achievement through their own endeavour. And remember, of the 3.4.5% of the population, Aboriginal population, it's only 1.3% who are victims of this gap. And a lot of that is geographical. They live in very remote places, presumably because they want to. But it is not an insurmountable problem, as Warren said. But this is not what The Voice is all about. The Voice is code for other things. Treaty, which is reparation, paying rent, white people paying rent, a separate parliament, and seizure of the 45% of the country that they don't own already. But when I say they don't own already, I'm talking about the activists, the people who in fact get all the money, all the benefit, and funnily enough, want even more. Thank you, Whitlam, Fraser, Hawke, and Keating. And listen, if you don't believe me, Pete, have you got that picture there of the rock formation?
Yes.
Okay, this rock formation, I can't tell you, I can't remember who sent it to me. I think it might have been Nick. This rock formation that we are not, that is to say, white people are not allowed to take a photograph of. In actual fact, I don't even know whether black people can take a photograph of it. But it clearly says you are not allowed to take a photograph of the scene. Now, there must be a reason that no one can take a photograph. Why? What mumbo jumbo is behind this? It's cultural? But you wouldn't let culture hold you back, push you back into the Stone Age, would you? Would you? I think the natives of New Guinea and some of the tribes in the United States, the American Indian tribes, believed the same sort of thing about photography. But I know the natives of New Guinea in the highlands, where they have very little contact with the 21st century, in fact they're headhunters, they believe that a photograph would take a piece of their soul away. Now, I guess if you're primitive, it could be hard to understand how something, a black box, could capture an image of you. Black magic or something. You could understand ignorant people being very frightened. But here we have a sign. You're sophisticated enough to go and get a sign printed? So you're sophisticated. Here we have a sign, perhaps even sanctioned by the law, enshrining primitive nonsense. How dare anyone tell people not to take a picture? You or I would not be allowed to do that. We wouldn't. We'd be laughed out of court. This is my house. You can't take a picture of my house? What rubbish. A lot of talk about the sudden departure of Dan Andrews. I could never understand this man's success, quite frankly. But that's Victoria. It's an interesting political case study, Victoria. It seems he goes out the door finding that a lot of people who don't like him. But you see, the truth of the matter is, honestly, it's not him they don't like. He's a consummate politician. It's not him they don't like, it's what he did. He's gone, but his replacement, Jacinta Allen, is cut from the same cloth, the socialist left. Could you imagine? I can't get my mind around, with all of the information that we have about the socialist left around the world and the history of the world, I can't imagine any group of sane people electing anyone from the socialist left, but they clearly do. But do you Victorians think that with this new lady from the socialist left that things will change? If you do, you're mad. With this federal government and wall-to-wall, almost, wall-to-wall state Labor governments, ladies and gentlemen, we're in for a fairly rough ride. But remember, you don't have to vote for them if you don't want to. It's a free country. Well, at the moment. A drug under development to cure Alzheimer's, which is a wonderful light on the hill. St Vincent's Hospital in Sydney pioneering it. Maybe it's 5 years away, they say, but they're very optimistic about it. But it's an interesting thing, having brought that up. You remember, we were talking about it on Friday a little bit on the live streaming show from the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com, 9 to 12, live, you can ring in. Just go to jeremycordeaux.com and have a listen. If you feel motivated to ring in, please do. But you remember the frenzy on the stock market years ago when they had that little penny dreadful called a junior miner, I think it was, Poseidon in the late 1960s, selling for about 8 cents. Within a few months, for no reason, just whispers, something, I don't know, it got to $280. Just very quickly, no reason, a frenzy. Like tulips in the 1700s in Holland. Tulip bulbs became more valuable than gold. No reason. Irrational stuff. Well, can I predict that with this Alzheimer's thing and various weight loss business bits and pieces around the place, could I predict a lot of irrational interest in drug companies, big pharma, coming up? People looking to not only double their money, but quadruple and whatever. Pardon me, their money. No fly today, but I've got the burps. Have I got time?
Yes.
One more?
Yes, I did want to also say about the Alan Jones thing.
Yes.
Can we do a separate post on that so that people can share it? Because it's very important.
Yes, look, I would love to do that. Somebody sent me a post of Alan Jones. Apparently he has, and I'll have to get the details and pass them on to you if you're interested in following it up. He does a television program on this network, which is not a mainstream network, any more indeed than this is a mainstream network. I find him profoundly interesting and also compelling. And he did which is what was sent to us, I don't know how long it goes for, but why don't we take tomorrow's podcast here and devote that entirely to Alan Jones?
Yes, we can do that.
We can do that.
Yes.
I think it probably goes for about 20 minutes, which is usually about the length of our posts here.
We can do that, and we can ask people to share it.
Yes, which I think is very important, as indeed we are sharing it with you. He is eloquent, he's on the ball, his facts are right, And as I say, it is extremely worth watching if you have an eye for the future of this country, as I'm sure you do. Now, just before I leave you, we do a couple of dates. I want to talk to you about construction companies. Wake Constructions, big company here in South Australia. Yet another builder to collapse. Big company, they built the Adelaide Oval Hotel. They're engaged in the construction, yet to be finished, of the Festival Square Tower. Alpine Projects in Sydney and its sister company Allura, gone overnight. Golden Homes, gone, Quattro. 250 unfinished homes. 1,700 construction companies have gone under in just the last little while. A huge number of people, contractors, subcontractors, a cascading tragedy touching thousands. Now, the insurance schemes that are in place are clearly not working. So again, I say to you, tread carefully. What we need is a very, very strong consumer protection. More government regulation, perhaps. I'm open to any suggestion, but something. I will tell you this, that there's a company in Melbourne. I don't know them personally, but I heard this and thought it worthwhile passing on to you in this context. R.J. Sanderson and Company. You can have a look at them. They're on the net as rjsanderson.com. R.J. Sanderson, SANDERSON.com. Now, they say they're into property and property investigation and sales. They'll go and investigate a property you want to buy, that sort of thing, you know. If you want to know about a particular development company or construction company or builder, they have advertised in the Melbourne media that for a price they will give you all the bona fides and details of the company about which you are inquiring. They'll tell you how substantial they are. You know, they can go into it and apparently tell you what their level of debt is and all that kind of thing, which I would imagine would be money very well spent if you're spending hundreds of thousands or indeed millions on the construction of anything. And don't forget, it's not just building a house, it could be a renovation or something like that. It's all very expensive. You don't want to get caught. Try it out. R.J. Sanderson. Now, what have I got to do? It's the 3rd. Golly. Happy birthday if you're having a birthday. Happy wedding anniversary. 1899. J.S. Thurman patents the motor-driven vacuum cleaner. The year was 1899. Golly, the motor-driven vacuum cleaner. 1945, Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley's first public performance at the age of 10. You know what he was singing, Pete?
No.
Have a guess.
Wooden Heart.
No, that was a Doc Pomus Mort Schumann song. Came a long time later.
I don't know.
Old Ship.
That's just about the first record I ever bought.
Well,
I didn't know that.
a wonderful song. He was 10 years old. He sang Old Ship in the Youth Talent Contest, Mississippi Fair and Dairy Show in Tupelo, Mississippi.
He couldn't afford the entry fee, as I understand it.
Yeah.
He couldn't afford the entry fee, and he crept in under the tent, I believe.
Well, it was a moment in his life. The contest is broadcast over WELO radio. He wins. He comes in 5th. Anyway, he wins the 5th prize, which was $5 in fair ride tickets. But that was his first paying gig, I suppose. 1945, the year I was born. 10 years older than I am, he He was. 1922, the first facsimile photos sent over city telephone wires. You know how we used to send a fax, Pete? When do you think the first fax was sent?
Oh, no idea.
1922! Took a hell of a long time to get to Australia. It was state of the art back in the 1970s and 80s. Golly. 1992, future US President Barack Obama, he was 31, and he weds fellow lawyer Michelle Robinson. She was 28, in Chicago, Illinois in 1992. Gary Larson announces that he's retiring from doing The Far Side in 1994. William Morris, you know, all these plush, lovely, posh furnishings and curtains, materials and patterns and things. William Morris, legendary. 1896. William Morris, English artist, writer, and socialist. Golly. Very wealthy socialist. Associated with the arts and the crafts, championed handmade products. Dies at the age of just 62 in 1896. Clive Owen, English actor, The Rich Man's Wife. Clive Owen was born in Coventry in England in 1964. Mickey Mouse Club premieres in 1955. What, Pete? What was the name of the guy who used to stand up there with Annette Funicello? I can't remember.
Well, I remember Annette.
I remember Annette
I was in
Funicello.
love with her, but I don't remember any guy, no.
It was the first time I think I ever had... Never mind. So she was something, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yes. I had stirrings. Dear, oh dear. Okay, Indira Gandhi was arrested, I don't know what for, but that was 1977. Chubby Checker, American songwriter, Twist, Limbo Rock was born. I talked to him. He was a good guy. I liked him. 1941, he was born. 2018, 259 people. I can't believe that. 259 people have died taking selfies since 2011, according to a study in the Journal of Family Medicine and Primary Care. How do you get killed taking a selfie?
Hit by a truck?
Hit by a truck?
I don't know.
Fallen off a bridge? Isn't that amazing? 259 people have died taking selfies since 2011. Adolf Hitler says that Russia is already broken and will never rise again. That was in a broadcast to the German people, but then again he would say that, wouldn't he? That was 1941. The Dick Van Dyke Show, created by Carl Reiner, starring Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore, premieres on CBS television back in 1961. Janet Leigh, American actress, Psycho, mother to Jamie Lee Curtis, dies at just 77 on this day in 2004. And, one more. Cervical cancer could be eliminated in Australia within decades because of a government vaccine program, according to a report in the Lancet Public Health magazine, 2019. That's all about that papilloma virus, the human papilloma virus. Yes, I hope they get on with that. I'm sure they are. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for viewing the Court of Public Opinion. Now, tomorrow, do you want me, Pete, to introduce Alan Jones tomorrow? Yes. Well, we'll do that. But I want you to tune in and have a look at it and then forward it on to other people, as you may indeed forward on what we do here in the Court of Public Opinion. But I thought, when I saw this broadcast from Alan Jones, I thought it most compelling and spot on. Thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion. I'm Jeremy Cordo. Peter Clayton and I will be back with our regular program come Thursday, but come tomorrow, special guest, And I haven't asked his permission or anything. But what the hell?
I'm sure he would like the word spread.
Oh, no, he's a friend. I've known him for years. I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would. But come tomorrow, Mr. Alan Jones. Bye for now.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.